Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Weller and welcome to Kraken Week, brought to you by Jenny D and Pointy Hat, and I'm going to be talking about a monster, the ABOLETH. So remastering the ABOLETH stat block. So this is what we've done. The armor class was 17, it's now 18. I've pushed it up by 1 just because the ABOLETH is probably going to be facing against level 10 characters, maybe 9, 8, something like that. So its armor class is not great, and I don't want to sort of change the challenge rating by pushing the armor class too high, so we'll leave it at 18. Its hit points, its average is only 135. I would recommend using the 216 hit points, the maximum, so that you get at least 2 rounds of combat. I haven't changed its speed. We did make an adjustment to its ability scores. So its intelligence was 18 with a +4 modifier. It's now a 20 with a +5 modifier. And of course that means that the saving throw got adjusted from being a +8 for intelligence up to a 9. And then I gave it charisma as a saving throw as well, because I think it's a charismatic monster. It's the sort of monster that is a legendary creature, but it's also going to be fighting with thralls or minions that probably aren't that powerful. Kind of feels like a solo monster too. So we've got to make it tough. History, I haven't done very much with that other than pushed it up from 12 to 13 because of the intelligence modifier change. I've given it damage immunities, not resistance, because I don't want to give you more maths. I've given it cold because it's a deep water creature, so it should be immune to cold damage. And psychic because it's very much a psychic creature. We've put in some condition immunities, one to being blinded because of its senses. I've also included prone because you're underwater. It doesn't make sense that you can be prone while you're underwater. Things like being frightened, deafened, and charmed I've included. Charmed and frightened I've included primarily because I think it can resist somebody trying to control its mind. Instead of dark vision, okay, I've given it blind sight because I think its senses are far wider than it using its eyes. Okay, so dark vision just didn't make sense to me. Telepathy, instead of 120 feet, we've gone to 180 feet, just so that we've got a better chance of communicating and messing with the player characters. Didn't change the challenge rating, the proficiency bonus is fine. I've included legendary resistances once per round because it didn't have a legendary resistance, and I've done it this way rather than 3 so that the players can't calculate and figure out how many legendary resistances they have to burn up. I've given it magical resistance because it is a magical creature. Amphibious, I didn't change. The mucus cloud got a big change. It's been expanded quite a lot. What I've done with this, ABOLETH bites, uses its tail or tentacles, touches another creature, you have to make a constitution saving throw. And if the creature touches the ABOLETH or makes a melee attack within 5 feet, you must also make a constitution saving throw. The DC is 17 to fall in line with what I would expect a high level 10 character to be able to put out in terms of DCs. So we've tried to put them in line with that character at level 10. On a failure, you are diseased. There's no time limit. You could be diseased for the rest of your life. Who knows? But the diseased creature can only breathe underwater. Their skin becomes translucent and slimy, and they can't regain hit points unless they're underwater. That's not a huge problem because you just get in the water and you're fine, right? And you can regain hit points. When you go out of the water, your body is going to be, particularly if you're diseased, it's going to take acid damage, okay? 6 on average or a D12 every 10 minutes, unless you have moisture applied to your skin. So that's pretty much the same. And the disease can be removed with any magic that cures a disease, to keep it nice and simple. So I've ported a lot of those concepts and mechanics from the tentacle attack into the mucus cloud, so it's in one place. Probing telepathy, I didn't change that. I thought it was fine. Multi-attack, I did change. So you get 3 attacks. You can choose to use your bite, your tentacles, your tail, or even a grapple. Okay, I think all of those are perfectly fine. So I've included all of them. I've changed the bite and the tentacle and the tail. I've gone with a +9. It could be as high as a +10 if you wanted. And its range is only 5 feet. And it does 22 points of damage on average, which is a 5d6 +5, okay, piercing. The tentacle attack, okay, again, it's a +9 to hit. It's got reach, and we're doing 22 points of bludgeoning damage. We've got our tail attack, again, +9, target one creature within 10 feet, 22 points of damage on average, but there's a formula for calculating it, bludgeoning again. So the idea being you should be doing about 66 points of damage in one round. Now, you're not going to use multi-attack unless you don't have Enslave. I've put that on a recharge. Enslave means it's now 30, it was 30 feet, it's now 60 feet, and I've made it, you can now affect potentially all the creatures within that range. Not just one creature, it's just too weak. You would never bother using it. It's just not effective enough. Other than that, most of it's the same. The DC's gone from the 14 to a 17 because it's just too low. I've included Phantasmal Terror, also on a recharge, so you have a choice between, hopefully you have the Enslave or the Phantasmal Terror to choose from in round 1 or 2, okay? Rather than going to multi-attack, which is probably not the most effective way to use an Aboleth. This projects a phantasmal image into all the creatures within 60 feet, and they have to make a DC 17 intelligence saving throw, and become frightened for 1 minute. Now, while they're frightened, they're also paralyzed. Paralyzed, as you know, is bad news for characters. I would imagine that this could be reasonably effective. There's an opportunity to redo the saving throw at the end of your turn. So even if you are affected in the first round or for one round, the chances are you'll save in the second round. Legendary actions were based off the old legendary action mechanic where you would get 3. I've ditched that and gone with 1 legendary action at the end of each player's turn. This means it can be adjusted for the size of your group. Okay, I've always found this works really well. It also means that the Aboleth doesn't sit there doing nothing for a long time. Standard actions have been included, so you can use as your legendary action, you can dash, dodge, grapple, help, search, which I think is kind of garbage, shove, or use an object if you're still using those mechanics in the game. Basic attack, you can use your bite, your tentacle, or your tail attack. So you've got lots of choice. You can do a psychic drain, which means you do damage. There's no attack roll, there's no saving throw, you just do damage and you regain hit points. Psychic drain, if you use that every single time as a legendary action, may get you to round 3 before you're in trouble. Lair actions. I've essentially left all of them exactly the same. I haven't changed anything other than the DC. The DCs, instead of being 14, are now 17. And I didn't think there was any necessity to actually do much more than that. Aboleth Remastered, I'll put it up onto Patreon. This was, of course, is only the first draft. Thank you to Jenny D and Pointy Hat for actually coming up with the idea of Kraken Week. And I want to thank you for watching and listening. I hope it was useful. And I want to thank all of my patrons. Until next time, keep rolling those 20s.